it's Lauren. Thank you so much for listening to The Afterlight. Enjoy the episode. This episode's been brought to you by the Raw Spirit team. Growing your business is just the beginning. Too many business owners try to grow their business on their own. They spend countless hours testing out and investing in hundreds of strategies, all with the aim of building their business. Without support, someone helping to guide you and cheering you on, motivation starts to go down. Your passion starts to decrease. You start running out of money and losing faith in your business and yourself. The Raw Spirit team is a supportive community filled with expert programming, up-to-date training, guest experts, mentorship, and like-minded business owners. This isn't another community and another strategy. This is a serious and supportive community of business owners focused on supporting each other and building their business. You are welcome here. All right, I'm Lauren Grace, and welcome to the latest episode of The Afterlight. I'm joined today by Cassandra Knight, who is a professional clairvoyant, an astrologer, and tarot reader. Throughout her 28-year career, she has performed readings for many people from all walks of her life. Her astrology columns and featured articles have appeared in various newspapers and magazines ranging from the Herald Sun to Elle. Cassandra enjoys helping her clients by providing practical and constructive support and advice. She is proficient in many different fields of expertise and can offer clients a combination of services in one reading to give them an in-depth, holistic analysis. She loves working with women in business or starting one that wish to align their life purpose, talents, and challenges to achieve life and business success. Cassandra has joined me to give us an astrological, let me try that part again. Cassandra has joined me to give us an astrological weather forecast for dummies, aka non-astrologers. Although if you are an astrologer as well, you are more than now likely and more than welcome to continue to listen. This is going to be a little bit of a forecast for the next 3 months. So welcome to the show, Cassandra. How did you like that introduction?
Thank you, Lauren. Thanks for having me back, and a great introduction, I must say.
That's what we like to call an au naturel introduction.
Yeah, that's it. Comfortable.
Yes, that's right.
So it's been such a huge year for us all. And I think we're just trying to catch our breath in a way, because it's been such a busy time just in our lives. It's tumultuous, big changes for everybody. And it's continuing, like particularly over the next month, we still have quite a few things going on, which I'll explain as I go. But I think what we can sort of look forward to is that we are entering a new paradigm. We've had the big sort of disruptions with Pluto and Jupiter, which is all about big sort of transformational changes. And we've seen that in our society through the coronavirus that's come through, that's disrupted, our economies and our day-to-day lives. And we've all just been trying to catch our breaths and see how it impacts us personally. So the other thing I wanted to talk about was where we're heading. So where we're going over the next month, we have Jupiter and Saturn changing signs from Capricorn, which is very much about fitting into an old way of doing things, being more, say, following rules and regimented, and it can be sort of about old structures, old ways of doing things. And both those planets are going into Aquarius, and that's all happening in December. December the 14th and 17th. What does that mean in layman's terms? Well, what it actually means is that we're going from an old way of doing things and the structure of, say, governments and society, and things are being shaken up, and we're in many ways, because of what's happened this year, we're really forced to look at things in a different way, operate our societies, looking at, say, new or more inclusive ways of doing things. Aquarius being a bit more sort of open-minded, looking at new ways of organising our lives. And in some ways it can be sort of more radical, that it's maybe not in the traditional way. So we can look forward to, particularly over the next couple of years, there will be a general shift for everybody, and we may see that with things like new ways of doing business. There might be, I mean, we're already seeing that say shopping online has become more acceptable and sometimes necessary, the COVID restrictions. So as business people, we're sort of maybe looking at new ways of connecting with our customers or clients, or and particularly Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, which does also rule things like technology. So we're probably going to see a lot of new things moving forward in that area, particularly with how we use technology, whether it's for things how we run our lives, our businesses. Could be also about climate change and energy. So I guess we're looking at a bit more sort of movement and openness in how we're operating. How it can also affect us on a day-to-day level. We might be more looking for connection with like-minded people, looking for support through our friends, our neighbourhoods, our community. So it may be less necessarily sort of division, hopefully, hoping there's sort of less division, but people looking at more how can we operate not just as individuals, but also as a group who have a common goal. The other thing I wanted to talk about was we also have in December now a lunar eclipse and a solar eclipse. The lunar eclipse is actually on the 30th of November, so it's not just quite December. And it's in the sign of Gemini. Gemini is all about sort of communication. So we may find that certain sort of information comes to light, and we may be more sort of open to communicating. It can be sort of, we're more aware of the words that we use and how we communicate, how do we come across. My feeling is, in a general sense, people will be maybe seeking truth as well, like seeking what is the actual truth. So that may have interesting correlations there with the US election, that particularly by the solar eclipse, the new moon solar eclipse, which is in Sagittarius on the 14th of December, which I think ties in with the time where the US election, I think, is actually decided. I'm not quite sure, Lauren, if that's right or not. So on one level, we may see that this new moon solar eclipse and the full moon in Gemini, the solar moon in Sagittarius, being very much about what is the truth, getting the right information, or the true information out there. So we're going to be more aware of how we use the power of communication and what do we say. And we might see that through our media. The other thing is Sagittarius is also about movement and overseas. And so we might feel, particularly maybe in Australia, we will see, there'll be more movement for people to travel, to see their relatives, to have a sense of expansion and movement and able to not be in lockdown. Hoping that happens for the rest of the world, but possibly not. They might see that, say, things like the virus peaks at that time, and hopefully at the end of that it starts coming down for people as well in the countries that are experiencing difficulties. So what does it all mean? It really is saying that we're sort of not out of this sort of intense time that we've experienced over this year. It's intense, but it's a bit different. It's a bit more cerebral, because all the planets that I'm talking about will be in air signs. So it's going to be more about ideas, communication, um, rather than things happening in a physical sense, like we have experienced through, the coronavirus. It's affected our lives day to day. This will be a change, a paradigm shift in our thinking, in what we're saying, in what we're reading, in what we're, what we're actually thinking about. So, Lauren, do you have any questions
Not so far.
for me?
No.
Yeah,
Yes.
so does that make it, I mean, for your listening to that, is there anything that you would want to ask as well?
I guess, just how far does that snapshot take us? I mean, we are right now, we're recording on the 24th of November, 2020. So I know you didn't use the date December 14th, and then you're kind of talking about like sort of in the new year, but does that take us, is that a 3-month snapshot, or is that
Okay, so what's happening is, because these planetary configurations, they're more long lasting. So we're going to probably experience intensity from Monday, the 30th of November, up until the 14th of December, which is the solar eclipse. So in that 2 weeks, if you're feeling really emotional and what am I doing? Am I going crazy? It's saying, look, just be aware that there's a lot of mental energy out there. So we need to be mindful to not spin out and be careful, I guess, what we ingest mentally. Like, what are we reading? What are we taking
right?
in? What are we remunerating about? And what are we saying to other people? So that sort of takes us 2 weeks. And then this other configuration, the Jupiter Saturn, because they're more far reaching planets, it's not like, it happens within a week and then we don't feel the
Right.
effects, after that. It's more long reaching. It'll be probably the whole year. And then in January, it's a little bit disruptive. What we might experience, well, not so much. I think January might be a little bit quieter, but it will be more we're feeling the after effects of what's happened in December. So we might possibly experience a bit of a quieter time. Now, when I say quiet, relative to the past year.
Right. Yeah, which has been intense.
Hopefully that gives you. So I guess the key points to take away is, we're going from a very sort of feeling of restrictive, having to follow rules, things being quite heavy, into a more cerebral time, which is about sort of ideas, movement, new inventions as well. Like, we'll probably start to see the vaccines being rolled out, giving people that hope that they can start to have normal lives, hopefully. So there is a sense of hope that we're going to use our logic and our minds to, get out of this or make a better future.
I think too, like when I listen to you speak, I know that, sometimes we just want this stuff to be over with, but it's all about the transformation and the transition. And you don't go from black to white or hot to cold like right away. There has to be an incubation period and like a transformation. And I had a guest, actually her episode is going to be airing next week, but she was talking about how 2020 has been a lot about the chrysalis, and we're kind of like all hiding out and like growing in that. And so it kind of sounds to me like we're slowly making our way out of that. We're looking at, maybe we've got new ideas, fresh takes on the world. We've learned from the experience. And then, like you said, maybe there's an opportunity to rekindle our relationships or how we view the world. And yeah, so I guess it is what it is, isn't it? It's like you said, these planets are far reaching, these changes are gradual, and it's just about honoring, like you said, where you're at, and being responsible for your own part in it.
Yeah, and at least, everything has its positive expression or supposedly negative expression. So on the one hand, through that whole time where we had intense planets in Capricorn, we really got to see like what was really important for our existence, for our day to day. It really brought us down to earth in a, quite a disruptive way. And now we're moving into, that realm of ideas. So we start to rebuild, like you said, rebuild new ways of doing things with the knowledge and life experience of having our priorities right, of what understanding what we really need because of what maybe we didn't have, so to speak. So yes, you're right, Lauren, it is a gradual thing, that transformation is. Things take time for us to digest and emerge out of. Nothing is really, 1 minute we're doing this and then the other. Like each moment in our life is connected to the past and to the future.
I think too, like when you think about the world has been through, I know in Australia we've been very lucky, and where I live in Cairns, we don't have any COVID. So it's been kind of almost like I live in a bit of a fantasy world up here. But, the world has just gone through the ringer, so to speak. And, out of that, I mean, people do need to recover. So it's kind of like being patient with the journey, I think, because I think it'd be really easy to feel like I'm ready to be done with it, but understanding that, going through the tail end is still a necessary way to exit it.
Yeah, and we're coming into that sort of that the Gemini Sagittarius with the lunar and solar eclipse. Sagittarius is very much about a very positive sign, which is very much about how can we move and find new adventure and conquer and overcome sort of difficulties. And so it is like the adventurous sign, that despite all the challenges, it's that, well, we can solve this, we can find a solution. And Gemini is that adaptability and being quick at being able to change and be adaptable. That's really going to help us in the next while to find to settle into the new paradigm, after everything we've been through this year. So there's optimism and adaptability. I think they're the sort of keys in the next, particularly over December. They're going to be, in some ways, the key words. Don't lose your optimism. You can get through this, and being flexible and adaptable is the key as well, which we've all had to be.
Exactly. All right. Well, that's perfect. Thank you so much, Cassandra. And then you'll be back in another 3 months as well, won't you, to talk maybe about this period and maybe about the forthcoming 3 months after that?
Thanks for having me back, Lauren. Have a lovely, for us, summer period.
Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. Just before we sign off, I do want to give our listeners at home an opportunity to connect with you. So I do know that you are in the middle of organizing a whole bunch of programming for business owners to really help them in their business and professional lives to kind of navigate the unseen territory or navigate the waters that are to come. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Thanks, Lauren. As you know, I do love working with soulpreneurs, female entrepreneurs that are focused on, want to live that holistic life of using their life purpose and soul purpose and connecting it with their life and business. So with astrology, I'm presenting a masterclass next week on the 3rd of December. And it will make, I guess, astrology a bit more accessible for the person that doesn't want to necessarily study it and get into it, but wants to be able to harness and use what it can do for you. So I'll be looking at how these, 2 things I was talking about, the paradigm shift and also the lunar eclipses, how they will play out in your personal life, and particularly with the focus with business. and how you can recognize things like the opportunities to come for you, where to focus your business, and also looking at where you need to do the work so you can get the benefits of those opportunities. So it'll be small classes, limited classes, and I do have a big discount at the moment for people who get in quickly. It will be sort of a small group and a bit more personal, that's how I like to work as well. So you feel like you're getting something that's relevant to you.
That sounds great. And they can go to your website, and I'll put a link to that in the show notes as well.
Yes, that'll be great. They could just go to my website, read about it, and also book directly through the website.
That's great. And then if people are listening to this sort of after the fact, like not in enough time to, get access to the master class, are you still doing other kinds of classes? Like they can still maybe find you online and follow up about what you might have coming up depending on when they listen to this?
Yes, well, I probably will have another one in January and also February, because that's when we, I guess, for some people, they're more focused on the year at the beginning of the year rather than right now. And I will have other classes throughout the year that look at different aspects of your the different aspects of yourself that relate to your business. Like, for instance, the working with the new moon, or working with Mars, which is very much about setting projects and when they're more likely to be successful. So I'll be doing those sorts of small classes throughout the year.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And people can go to cassandra.net.au for more information, or you can find her on Facebook, but I'll put a link to all those in the show notes. So thank you so much, Cassandra, and we'll talk to you in 3 months.
Thanks, Lauren. All the best.
Hi. Thanks so much for listening to the episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did,